in Butler today for the rally at 5 o'clock.
Thousands of people are already there hours ahead of the president's speech. It's got to be more than 10,000.
This is a big crowd. Hello, Butler. Hello to Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to be back.
The hand of God protected Donald Trump.
That this is about milliseconds and millimeters that changes this from being an attempt and an assassination.
Not even an assassin's bullet could stop him.
We can now project the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump wins the presidency. What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
We have a president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign, securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Touching down in 3,
please welcome
2,
the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump!
Can you miss me yet? Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. This is a nice crowd. We're going to be talking a little bit about a wonderful thing called religion tonight. Is that okay? A little bit more than normal, and that's good. That's really good. And I just want to say hello to everybody and to Turning Point for the fantastic job that Turning Point does. Thank you very much, Turning Point. This is a great group. This is from corner to corner. This room is packed, and there are a lot of people outside, but we have to forget about them, right? We just have to. It's the way life goes. But I'm thrilled to be back with so many proud, hardworking American patriots who believe in faith and family, God and country. Thank you very much. And we want to thank each and every one of the believers in this room for your prayers and your incredible support. I really did appreciate it. Something was working, that we know. Something was working, so I thank you very much. And I stand before you tonight thanks to the power of prayer and the grace of Almighty God. As I think you can see, I've recovered well, and in fact, just took off the last bandage off of my ear. I just got it off. I took it off for this group. I don't know why I did that for this group, but that's it. I think that's it. I hope that's it. Let me also thank Charlie Kirk for hosting this event and for his leadership, as well as Bishop Aubrey Shines. Thank you, Bishop. A great friend of mine, a tremendous woman of faith, Pastor Paula White is here, and she's been so incredible wherever you may be, Paula. Where's Paula? She is fantastic. Thanks, Paula. Pastor Jensen Franklin, one of the biggest, one of the most powerful, one of the greats. Thank you, Pastor. He's been with us from day one. Pastor Lorenzo Sewell, whose church I visited in Detroit, and this guy can speak. Where is he? He can speak. He spoke at the convention. And I'll tell you, nobody wanted to follow him. Where is he? Where is that pastor? Oh, hello, Pastor. Nobody wanted to follow him, I can tell you that. There was the people said, I'll pass. You were fantastic. Thank you very much, Pastor. It was an honor to be in Detroit. And we were in serious Detroit, right? That was the real Detroit. Thank you very much. So respected, such a wonderful man. And speaking of respect, Secretary Ben Carson. What a great guy. Nobody like him. Former ESPN anchor Sage Steele. Thank you, Sage. Sage has been terrific. She's been terrific, amazing person. Another amazing person is a man named Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro, a patriot, one of the best trade people ever. He understood China better than anybody but me. I understood him better. No. We both understood. Where is Peter? What a great guy. Peter, where are you, Peter? There he is. Peter, thank you very much. What a great guy. He got it. He got it. He was something special, and he's going to come back with us, I think. Peter, you coming back with us wherever? Yeah, there you are. Thank you, Peter. He's coming back. He really did. He understood trade. He understood it better than just about anybody. He understood how we were being ripped off for years and years and years, and nobody did anything about it. But we did. And today we're delighted to announce the launch of our new coalition, Believers for Trump. Believers, you're believers for Trump. As you know, 5 days ago, we officially defeated the worst president in the history of the United States, crooked Joe Biden. You know, I thought a lot about it. We defeated him. He was badly beaten, and you know, everybody was going to him said, you can't beat him. You're not going to beat this guy. You can't beat him. Get out. Get out. We want you out. There was nothing nice about what they were doing. And they were saying, we want you out of the race. You're going to lose. We want to put somebody else in. How about that? It's like a prize fighter. He's losing badly, ready to be knocked out. And they say, well, wait, let's stop the fight. Let's put somebody else in. It doesn't work that way, and it's not supposed to work that way. And this really was a coup by the Democrats. This was a coup, nothing else. He got 14 million votes. I hate to stick up for Biden, but, you know, he didn't want to do what he did. He said, I'll never go out. I'll never, ever go out. 2 days later, I'm proud to go out. Because the fascists went after him. They threatened him with the 25th Amendment. They said, we can do it the nice way or we can do it the hard way, Joe. That's what happened. I know as many people on that side as I know on our side, so to speak. But that's what happened. They said, we can do it the hard way. We can do it the easy way. 25th Amendment if you don't go. And he said, oh, I'll go. And now they're trying to make him into a brave hero. He's so brave. Last night or the other night, he made a speech behind the beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office. And look, I'm not looking to knock. I want to give people credit or not credit. It was horrible. And then you turn on to like CNN and MSDNC, the worst. They're just horrible. And they're saying one of the finest speeches we've ever seen. I mean, Churchillian, somebody said. Churchill, Winston Churchill. No, Winston had it on him a little bit. It was so bad, and they pretended it was good. And they're doing the same thing with her. She was a bum 3 weeks ago. She was a bum. A failed vice president in a failed administration with millions of people crossing, and she was the border czar. Now they're trying to say she never was the border czar. She had nothing to do with the border. She was the border czar. They're trying to take it. They're deleting it all over the place. They want to take it because we have the worst border in history. And 3.5 years ago, we had the best border that we've ever had. In fact, my chart that I looked over to the right, that chart, you know, the famous chart that showed we had the best numbers in history, at least recorded history on the border, that chart probably saved my life. Can you believe it? Because I looked over. If I didn't look over, I got a problem. Wasn't too good anyway. Did you see the FBI today apologize? They said, well, it might have been a bullet, but it might have been glass. Oh, really? Where did the glass come from? Or it might have been shrapnel. Where did the shrapnel come from? No, they then said it was a bullet. They just try and do it. It just never ends with these people. They raid Mar-a-Lago. They do things so bad, so bad. Our country is so sick. But they apologize. We accept their apology. So now we have a new candidate to defeat the most incompetent, unpopular, and far-left vice president in American history. That's what she is, the most incompetent, but certainly the most far-left. Together, 4 months from now, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris, who a short time ago strongly fought to defund the police and the radical left Democrat Party. We're going to take back that very beautiful White House, and we're going to make America great again, guaranteed, and it's going to go fast. With your vote, I will defend religious liberty in all of its forms. I will protect Christians in our schools, in our military, in our government, in our workplaces, in our hospitals, and in our public square. And I will also protect other religions. We want that, right? Other religions. And we will bring our country back together, one nation under God. But if radical, liberal Kamala Harris gets in, and by the way, there are numerous ways of saying her name. They were explaining to me, you can say Kamala, you can say Kamala. I said, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter what I say. I couldn't care less. If I mispronounce it or not, I couldn't care less. Some people think I mispronounce it on purpose, but actually I've heard it said about 7 different ways. There are a lot of ways. There are a lot of ways. But if radical liberal Kamala Harris gets in, you will have the exact opposite effect. Harris will appoint hundreds of extreme far-left judges to forcibly impose crazy San Francisco liberal values on Americans nationwide. Now, you've seen what's happened to San Francisco. It was the best city maybe in our entire country 15 years ago, and now it's barely livable. That's what she's the one that started. She was an original defunder. She was a defunder of the police. She said, let's defund the police. She was the first one to start it. But now, of course, she's tough. She did not. They always, one thing about a politician, I guess including me, you always go back to your original thought. Now, my original thoughts were very good. You'll like my original thought. I'm the only one out there that probably got worse. It's true. My original thoughts, you always go back to them. And she went back to them, and she will go back. If she ever got in, she will go back to all of those horrible original thoughts that she had. She'll appoint hardcore Marxists to the Supreme Court to shred our Constitution and all of our religious liberty. She will do that, absolutely. She will try as hard as she can to add as many justices as possible to the U.S. Supreme Court. We don't want that to happen, do we? We like our 9 justices the way they are. We don't want to have 17. I've heard numbers 21. 21 sounds like a great number. What about 23? They want to have an odd number. That's the only thing we agree on. In other words, she wants to pack the court, which is their #1 agenda. And we can't let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. We're not going to have anybody added. We're going to do it the way we've done it for many, many years. That's really a stopper. It's a stopper. The Supreme Court. And by the way, you can take a look. There have been many things that have happened over the last few years where there's been great uniformity on things that aren't necessarily conservative, but they did the right thing. That's what's supposed to be happening, and that's what's happened. They've done the right thing, but they can't pack the court. The hordes of illegal aliens storming across our borders will exceed 40 or 50 million by the time they're finished. That's what they want. They want millions. You know, the number, I believe the real number already, or very close, is 20 million people have come across our border. Think of it. Over a very short period of time, with 4 more years of Harris, who was worse than Joe Biden in a true sense and far more liberal, America will be decimated by migrant crime, demolished by fascism, ravaged by rampant inflation, and impoverished by the complete obliteration of American energy. They don't want any fossil fuel no matter what. In other words, good luck. I hope you enjoy walking to work. You know what makes electricity, right? Fossil fuel. They don't understand that. You know, it comes from someplace, right? It comes from fossil fuel. I'm here tonight because we must never let that happen. Our task is to defeat socialism, to defeat Marxism, communism, to defeat the cartels and the criminals and the human traffickers trafficking women. And that means defeating Kamala Harris in a landslide. We want a landslide this November. We want something too big to rig, too big to rig. Too big to rig. Too big to rig. We cannot let this, I have to say, once great country, but will soon be a great country again. But right now, we don't feel like this is a great country. We're a laughingstock all over the world, but we can't let our country fail. As everyone here understands, the radical left ideology Kamala supports is really militantly hostile toward Americans of faith. And you saw that during the pandemic where people couldn't get together. Even when they wanted to get together with big spaces outside, they were ravaged. As a senator, she viciously attacked highly qualified judicial nominees simply because they were members of the Knights of Columbus, suggesting that their Catholic faith disqualified them from serving on the federal bench. And I'll tell you something. I don't know, we have a lot of Catholics in here, probably not too many. How many Catholics do we have? Whoa, it's a lot. I don't know how a Catholic can vote for the Democrats because they're after the Catholics. Almost as much as they're after me. I would say I top you, I'm proud to admit. But they're really after the Catholics. And, you know, I met today with Bibi Netanyahu, and I will tell you, I asked him a question, and he said he's getting asked that question a lot. I said, how can a Jewish person or a person that loves Israel vote, think of this, vote for these parties? I mean, how can they vote Democrat? How can they vote for these horrible people that want to destroy? But I asked them, how did they vote for Democrats? Everything is negative. Everything, they want to stay in the way. They don't want to have victory. They want to stop you from having victory. They want to put you in jail. They want to persecute you. How does a Jewish person vote for a Democrat? And traditionally, they have. No, traditionally, they have. And we came to the conclusion it's mostly habit. Because they have for 50 years. I mean, they have. That's what they've done. But how does a Jewish person vote for a Democrat? How does a Catholic person vote for a Democrat? With what they're doing to Catholics, I just don't get it. Somebody doesn't like Catholics in that administration, and I don't even know who it is. I don't think it's Biden, because I don't think he has any idea what the hell he's doing. I don't think he has any ideas on any subject. Kamala Harris supports California's outrageous new law trampling on parental rights and allowing minors to change their gender without parental notification or consent. Can you imagine? She's in favor of that, by the way. Or she was. She's probably losing. You know, they're losing as much as they can. But remember, a politician always goes back to where they started. Harris wants to forcibly compel doctors and nurses against their will to give chemical castration drugs to young children. You know that, right? She totally supports that. And she supports the Biden-Harris Title IX policy of forcing every public school in America to let men into women's and girls' locker rooms. Can you imagine? It's like, what are we doing? What? You know, the whole world is laughing at us. You do know that, right? We've gone wacko. As president, I will protect the safety and well-being of America's children. I will defend the values of the American family. And above all, I will restore common sense to Washington, D.C., because Republicans, and I said this for the last year, and I think it's so true, we're conservative and all of that stuff. But you know what? We're the party of common sense. Common sense. We want borders. We want security. We want safety. We want good education. We'd like low interest rates. We'd like to be able to buy a house. We want safety, though. We want safety. We want strength. We want wisdom. We don't want to have an electric car where everybody has an electric car that doesn't go far, is made in China, costs too much. And by the way, and I want to thank Elon Musk for endorsing me, by the way, I have to tell you. And I said, you know, Elon, remember, I love electric cars. I think your car is great. I love it. But it's not for everybody. And, you know, he never said to me, look, I'm going to endorse you, but, you know, you have to show. Because I think the electric car and I think the Tesla, I think it's incredible what they've done. But there are other reasons, like sometimes you want to drive long distances. You don't want to stop. You know, in the Midwest, someplace in the Midwest, they put up 8 charging stations. You know that, right? They spent $9 billion. Now, you know what a charging station is? It's like a gas pump. It's the equivalent of a gas pump for electricity, right? It's a little thing. They spend $9 billion. That would mean that if they did it throughout the country, all the locations designated, it would cost $5 trillion, so our country would have to file for bankruptcy. They would have to file bankruptcy protection to build charge. The whole thing is crazy. They want everything to be all electric. But Elon's great. He endorsed me. He said, look, you know, you got to say what you say. And I love the car. I think it's great. And some people love them, and some people want them. But I think if you're going to go long distances, it's a little bit, you're challenged. You're challenged. In my first term, I defended, and like nobody, Christians against hate and bigotry. Nobody did what I did, and Marxist aggression. No president has ever done what I've done for Christians before. I restored religious liberty for doctors, nurses, teachers, and faith groups like the beautiful Little Sisters of the Poor. We defended them very strongly. I stopped the IRS from using the Johnson Amendment. That's that's after Lyndon Johnson, who had a problem with a certain pastor in Houston. Didn't like him, so he passed an amendment. It was a disaster. To interfere with pastors' freedom of speech. He wouldn't let pastors even discuss anything having to do with politics. And if they did do that, they'd take away their tax-exempt status. So pastors were afraid because they need the tax-exempt status in order to do what they have to do. And we want to listen to our pastors. We don't want them to be silenced because these pastors are incredible people. That's right. I listen to you. Sometimes I don't listen well enough, though, I will say. You know, Franklin Graham, you probably heard me say this. I said it a couple of times. But he's a great guy and always been a supporter of mine. He was never a supporter of people politically. Probably he can't be. But he was always a supporter, and openly. But he wrote me a letter a few weeks ago. He said, President Trump, I love listening to your stories. You're a great storyteller. That was very nice. He said, but please, if it's possible, it'll be even better. Don't use foul language. He told me, please, do away with foul language. If you don't use foul language, it will be even better. And I thought about it, and I tried it for a couple of nights, actually. Actually, it didn't work out so well. It was, you know, when I get to the punchline, I'm ready to use that one word, just one, Franklin, one word. And then I use a politically correct word, and the whole thing just falls flat. But I try. I'm trying, Franklin, I'm telling you. No, he's a good man. He's a good man. I issued guidance making clear that the right to freedom of worship does not end at the door of a public school. We know that. I was the first and only president to convene a meeting at the United Nations to end religious persecution worldwide. That's the first president to do it. They didn't want to get into it. All of these very religious presidents that you've had, you know, religious in quotes, they said, no, we'll pass on that. But I went and I did it, and I was proud to do it. For 4 years, I stood proudly with our friend and ally, the State of Israel. And for them and us, I withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal. We left Iran weak, broke, and unable to fund terror. And we would have had a deal if the election weren't rigged and stolen. We would have had a deal within the first week after the election. Instead, Iran is now a very wealthy country. They were a poor country. I said, nobody can buy from them. If you buy from them, you can't do business with the U.S. And China didn't buy, and nobody bought, and they didn't have the money to give to Hamas and Hezbollah. They had no money. They were broke. A Democrat congressman was on a show called Deface the Nation. Do you know? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Deface the Nation. You know, they spend millions of dollars with people to try and build up their name, and then Trump comes up, makes a speech. Look at all the television. Trump comes up, makes a speech, and you go deface the nation. So much for that PR campaign. But it's true. It is a defacing of the nation in many cases. The others are no different. ABC, NBC, CBS, they're all bad. But, you know, we have to bring back an honest press. If we don't bring back honesty in our press, this whole thing is not going to work. But I kept my promise, recognized Israel's eternal capital, and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. It was a big deal. And got it built for $2 billion under budget. Took an old building and reconverted it for peanuts using Jerusalem stone. A friend of mine said, oh, I love Jerusalem stone. He's in New York. Big, rich guy. Every time I walk into his office, do you know what this is? I know it's Jerusalem stone. You tell me every time, oh, comes from Jerusalem. So now I'm building. I not only wanted to get it going, but I want to build it because I know I can get it built fast. And they had a building already. They were going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to buy a site in Jerusalem. I said, wait a minute, don't we have something? We checked. Yeah, we always do, because we were there a long time ago. We were there sort of first, always by the post office like I did in Washington. If you get a post office, it's always the first building that they put in years ago. It's always the best location. So I said, do we have anything? Yeah. I said, hey, listen to the people. We're going to spend $2 billion on building an embassy. I said, how much do you think we can do it for? We think we can do it for $350,000. So this, really, we're going to take an old building and reconvert it. I said, 300, it's the only time I ever said this. I said, you know, honestly, it's too low. It sounds too cheap. I've never done that before. Usually I say, okay, let's make it 300, right? Let's make it 250. But I said, I think it's too cheap. It sounds terrible. Do it for under 500,000. Yes, sir. I said, any chance we can use Jerusalem stone? A friend of mine says it's very expensive. He goes, absolutely, sir. It's all over the place. We're in Jerusalem. So we built the whole thing out of Jerusalem stone. Can you believe it? And got it done for nothing. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful embassy. And that was the capital of Israel. Every president for decades and decades promised that they were going to do that. Capital of Israel, Jerusalem. But I even got the building built. And we got it built. We had a beautiful opening. I went. It was a beautiful opening. And I had a young lady named Ivanka there. We had our great first lady there. We had a lot of my children, a lot of my friends. It was a beautiful opening. Remember, it was always going to be a disaster if you do that. And every president was going to do it. They got to the office. They go into the White House. All of a sudden, they get hit by every side. They never did it. They never could get it off. I understand it. There was tremendous pressure not to do it. But I got it done. I got the building built, and it was a great thing. We opened it, and there were no problems, you know? People said there were going to be big problems. There would be bloodshed all over the Middle East. It never happened. It never happened. And we had it recognized, Jerusalem, as the capital of Israel. It was a great thing. It was a great day, actually. I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. I never even said I was going to do it. I mean, the fact is, I've done more for Israel by far than any other president, not even close. And with the historic Abraham Accords, as you know, we created peace in the Middle East. Unfortunately, they didn't add any countries to it, but we will. By contrast, Kamala Harris stabbed Israel in the back in its great hour of need. 2 days ago, she refused to attend the speech in Congress of the Prime Minister of Israel. She said, oh, I can't make it. There was just a small group of people, but they couldn't make it because that's her original thought. That's where she comes from. She doesn't like Jewish people. She doesn't like Israel. That's the way it is, and that's the way it's always going to be. She's not going to change. Together with Joe Biden, she gave billions and billions of dollars to Iran and Hamas to fund their campaigns of terror. She gave them billions of dollars. They were broke. Remember, when I left, they were broke. There were stories that Hamas is out of business, Hezbollah is out of business. They were broke. October 7th would have never happened if I were president. The attack on Ukraine by Russia would have never happened. I spoke to President Putin often about it. It was the apple of his eye. He would have never done it. Wouldn't have done it. I said, you'll never do it. He would have never done it. It was only after I left that armies started aligning the border with Ukraine, armies. And I said, oh, he's just negotiating. He'll never do it, but he did it. He did it because we had a weak president. He did it also because our move out of Afghanistan was so incompetently done. And I think when he saw the way we did that, he said, wow, this is a paper tiger that we're dealing with. But they weren't a paper tiger with me. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks instead of 5 years. It was supposed to take 5 years, 4 weeks. Within days of the heinous October 7th attack on Israel, Kamala Harris praised the anti-Israel protesters. You saw that, right? She praised them. She betrayed America's ally and sided with the radical fringe of her party, only for political gain, maybe for personal gain, I don't know. And this week, many of those Kamala Harris supporters burned American flags in the heart of our nation's capital and desecrated our monuments. Did you see? They sprayed very powerful spray paint into limestone. Magnificent, the lions, the bells, you saw it. And you know, when that gets into limestone, you never really get it out. You'll see it in 100 years from now. They desecrate it. And by the way, January 6th, well, what's happening to these people that have done serious damage? Have they been arrested? Are they in jail now, like the January 6th hostages? And when are they letting them out? You know, we had a great Supreme Court ruling 4 weeks ago that really should let most of them out. When are they coming out? They're still there. When are they coming out? Unlike liberal Kamala, I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror. You have to support that. Got to win, got to finish it off. And instead of pandering to the jihad sympathizers and America-hating radicals, we will deport them. We will deport them very quickly. We have no choice. And they understand that. They understand that. I have many friends in the Middle East, many great friends in the Middle East. They understand it. In my next term, I will once again appoint rock-solid conservative judges who will protect religious liberty and not let Marxist lunatics rewrite our Constitution. In my first 4 years, we will totally transform the federal bench, appointing remember this, I appointed nearly 300 judges to defend the law and the Constitution as written. I defended this law, this Constitution. Then they say, oh, he is not for democracy. I took a bullet for democracy. He didn't. And I might have taken it because of their rhetoric. I might have taken it because of their rhetoric. Who knows? I withstood vicious attacks to pick and confirm 3 great Supreme Court justices, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. They're great people. They're courageous people. We've also achieved what the pro-life movement fought to get. For 50 years, they've wanted to get this. For 50 years, they've been working so hard, getting abortion out of the federal government. They wanted it out. That means everybody, Democrats, liberals, Republicans, conservatives, they wanted it out, and they wanted to bring it back to the states for 51 years, to be exact. And that's the way everybody, all legal scholars, virtually everybody, they wanted it out of the federal government, brought back to the states. And now it's up to the will of the people in each state. It's up to the voters. They're doing it. And some states will be more conservative in what they vote for, and other states will be more liberal. I mean, Ohio, we love Ohio, but they voted quite a liberal law. Kansas, same thing, very liberal. Then you'll have a Texas and you'll have other places, but it's now being voted on all over. The people will decide, and that's the way they always wanted it. If Kamala Harris has her way, they will have a federal law for abortion to rip the baby out of the womb in the 8th, 9th month, and even after birth, execute the baby after birth. The baby is born. Remember the former governor of Virginia, he said, the baby is born. We sit with the mother and we discuss what you want to do with the baby. In other words, if you want, we'll execute the baby after birth. And they have laws, and they want to pass laws to that effect. These people are radicalized, and they're sick. They're sick people. So they're really, if you look at it, they're really the radical ones. And like Ronald Reagan, I strongly believe in exceptions for life of the mother, rape, and incest. I think it's very important. Don't forget, you have to go with your heart. But you also have to win elections. Very important. You have to win. So go with your heart. Do what you want, but you do have to win elections. We have elections that are very important to win. And if you don't do certain things, you're not going to win elections, and it'll be a very Pyrrhic victory. It'll be a victory that's not really a victory at all. But Ronald Reagan felt that. I felt that. Many people feel that. And we really did something that nobody thought was possible. I want to thank the 6 Supreme Court justices, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, John Roberts, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, and Amy Coney Barrett for the wisdom and the courage they showed on this long-term and very, very contentious issue. And getting it back to the states puts the question where it belongs with the vote of the people, and it's happening all over the country. You're having the vote of the people. And over time, it will all work out. It's working out at a rapid rate already. You know that. It's going to many states are voting on it now, and many have already voted. And sometimes, again, sometimes the vote will be as you like it. Sometimes it won't be quite as you like it. But our country can finally come together. This issue has been killing our country for 51 years. As soon as I take the oath of office, I will stop the Biden-Harris administration's weaponization of law enforcement against Americans of faith and against, frankly, their political opponent. No longer will their DOJ and FBI be allowed to target, persecute, or round up Christians or pro-life activists and throw them in jail for living out their religious beliefs. And that's what they've been doing. They've been doing that at levels that this country has never seen before. Americans of faith are not a threat to our country. Americans of faith are the soul of our country. All of you, you're the soul of our country. You built this country. You built this country. You really did. You built this country. From the moment I win the election, I will rapidly review the cases of every political prisoner who has been unjustly victimized by the Biden-Harris regime, so we can get them out of prison and back to their families where they belong. There's many of them out there. And that includes Paula Harlow, the 75-year-old woman in poor health who the Biden-Harris administration sent to prison for peacefully protesting outside of a clinic. You know that. You heard about that. This wonderful woman, and 75 years old, she's going to jail, and she's in jail. She's going to jail. She's going to be there for quite a while because she was singing religious tunes outside of a clinic. I will create a new federal task force on fighting anti-Christian bias. And its mission will be to investigate all forms of illegal discrimination, harassment, and persecution against Christians in America. The weaponization of law enforcement is the greatest threat to freedom in our country, and nobody knows it better than me. I think I know it better than anybody. The reason Biden, Harris, and their thugs are so desperate to stop us is that they know that we are the only ones who can stop them. We are the only ones that can stop them. This is a movement, Make America Great Again, MAGA, the likes of which our country has never seen before. And by the way, Christians have to vote. You know, I don't want to scold you, but you know that Christians do not vote proportionately. They don't vote like they should. They're not big voters. You know who else aren't voters? The NRA endorsed me very powerfully, strongest endorsement they can give, National Rifle Association. People that own guns and rifles are not big voters. They have to vote. If you don't vote, we're not going to win the election. If you do vote, we're going to win in a landslide. Too big to rig. We're going to win in a landslide. But Christians, you know, you'll go to church every Sunday, and Pastor Paula White and all of the people, I understand, they're doing lockboxes in churches where people don't even have to go to vote. They can now vote in church. And if you do that, we're going to win by numbers that nobody's ever seen before. You know, you have tremendous power, but you just don't know that. But you have to use that power. Christians are a group that's known not to vote very much. You have to go out, at least this election. Just give us in, get us into that beautiful White House. Vote for your congressmen and women. Vote for your senators. We will change this country for the better. This country will be great again like never before. You got to vote. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, November 5th, which is a period, really, because you're allowed to vote early. They have early voting, late voting. Everything is so ridiculous. We should have one-day voting, paper ballots, voter ID, and certification of citizenship, and that's what we're striving for. But voting actually starts on September 6th in North Carolina, a great state. We're doing very well there. I only say that when we're winning or going to win, you know that. I mean, it's just one of those little things, can't help it. No, it's a great state. North Carolina, September 6th. Then it's Pennsylvania toward the end of September, and it's various states in September, and then you have October, and, you know, it used to be on November 5th you vote. But November 5th, meaning November 5th period, meaning this election will be the most important election in the history of our country. We're going to save our country with this election. So all of their persecution, is only happening because I am running for president and leading very big in all of the polls, including big leads against Kamala. We have very good leads, you know, despite the fact that she came in as a replacement, a mandatory replacement. Joe, you're doing badly, Joe. We want you out, but I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out. You're going out, Joe. Do you understand that, Joe? You're going out, Joe. I don't want to go out. I won't go out. All right. If you don't go out, we're going to go after you with the 25th Amendment. You're incompetent. Everybody knows that, Joe. You know, I won my case in Florida on the documents, right? Joe had a much more, you know, I had the Presidential Records Act on my side. I was allowed to do, I didn't do anything wrong. He did, because he didn't have the Presidential Records Act. He lost his case, but the decision was he's incompetent. So he can't go to trial. So he's incompetent. Think of this. He's incompetent. He can't go to trial, but he's allowed to be president. So he can't go to trial because he's incompetent. He can't defend himself, but he's allowed to be president. What's that thinking all about? The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election in 2024. We won't have a country left, right? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. This is fun being with you. It's like a love fest. Tomorrow I'm going to be with the Bitcoin people. That's a little different. We cover lots of territory. No, but we love being with you. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great, great badge of honor. Don't forget, I've been indicted more than Alphonse Capone. I always use him because Scarface. He's the meanest guy. See the guy right up in the front row, this big, strong guy with the hat on. Stand up. Look at the muscles all over. Yeah, stand up. Look at him. If Al Capone had dinner with him and didn't like him, all those muscles wouldn't mean a thing. He'd be right now in the foundation of a building someplace. I've been indicted more than Alphonse Capone, but I've been indicted for you. I've been indicted for nothing. I protested a crooked election. That's what they indicted me on. But I've been indicted for you. And never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never, ever let them take away your freedom. It's as simple as that. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me. They're after you. I just happen to be standing in their way, right? And that has never been clearer than it is today. If Kamala Harris gets in, she will be the most extreme, radical, liberal president in American history. Probably, I could say, politician. As a senator, think of this one. As a senator, Harris was ranked #1 most far-left Democrat in the entire Senate. And that includes Bernie Sanders. Do you believe that? She is more liberal than Bernie Sanders. I didn't think you could get more liberal. She is substantially more liberal. Remember, defund the police. I want to defund the police. Now, all of a sudden, she says, oh, I'm tough on crime. Nope. You always go back to where you came from. She makes Bernie Sanders actually look like a moderate. You don't want that. You can't have that. Look, we can't. We're not going to survive. I'll tell you what, if she does win this election because of whether it's cheating or any other way, it's impossible to believe somebody can say, let people come into our country. And I mean, these people that are coming in are rough. The only thing good about, they're so dangerous and so bad, they make our criminals look like very nice people. That's the only thing good about them. She supports free government health care for illegal aliens, abolishing ICE, decriminalizing illegal immigration. Do you believe it? Mass amnesty for illegals, banning fracking. No more oil drilling. We don't want any more oil. We want everything to be run by wind. We'll put a windmill on the top of our car. She wants to outlaw private health insurance. A lot of people have private health insurance. They want to keep it that way. It's phenomenal. She wants to defund the police, forcibly ripping guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens. As vice president, she even cast the tie-breaking vote to cut Medicare by $237 billion, your Medicare. And remember, Social Security is going to be wiped out because she's going to put the illegals coming into our country into that system. It's going to wipe out that system. You're not going to have Social Security. You're not going to have Medicare. You're not going to have, you're going to officially, we're close anyway, you're officially going to third world status. The Harris agenda is an agenda for national destruction. The Trump agenda is an agenda for national renewal and greatness. We're going to make America great again. On day one, I will seal the border and stop the invasion of our country. Since Kamala was appointed border czar, and that's what she is. She wants to take the name away. Oh, I don't want that name anymore. She loved it when she had it, but you know, she never went there. She never did a thing. I was with Tom Homan and some of the great people, Brandon Judd the other day, and they were saying, first of all, they said, Trump is the greatest president in the history of the country. I should say that. And he was the greatest on illegal immigration, and that's true, definitely. But since Kamala was appointed border czar in March of 2021, millions and millions of illegal aliens have stormed across our borders. You know that. And they're coming not just from South America. That's the least of it. They're coming from Africa. You know, we had people coming in from parts of Africa. The Congo, 22 people from the Congo a couple of months ago. Where do you live? The Congo. Oh, what's your address? We lived in prison. What did you do? We refused to say. Oh, welcome to America. It's lovely to have you. They come from Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming from all over, not just South America. They're coming from prisons and jails, mental institutions and insane asylums. And terrorists are coming in at levels that we've never seen before. You know, when I had the safest border we've ever had. Let me tell you, my border was safe. It was safe. Nobody's seen anything like it. And you know, one of the things I was most proud of, I stopped much of human trafficking, which has become as big a business as the drug trade. And they traffic in women. They traffic more in women than anything else. And they were afraid of us. They didn't, but they're not afraid any longer. Human trafficking, women trafficking, but human trafficking is way up. And you know, it's a bigger business than it was 100 years ago. You think of it almost as an ancient crime. It's not. You know what made it big? The internet. The internet's made it a tremendously big business, similar to the drug trade. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up while crime statistics all over the world are plunging. You know, they like to say, oh, our rates are down. They're not down. They're way up. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. We've become a dumping ground for the entire world. In Venezuela, crime is down 72%. I'm going to tell Charlie Kirk, I'm going to say, Charlie, next year, I want to have your wonderful summit in Venezuela. And he'll say, why? I say, because there's no crime in Venezuela. They put all their criminals into the United States. So I want to go to Venezuela where it's safe. Can you believe it? You know that Caracas, Venezuela, was one of the most crime-ridden cities in the world. Now it's safe because they've taken those criminals, they've taken those drug dealers, they've taken their prisoners, and they've moved them into the United States, large numbers, and the rest are coming. But they're not coming with me. We're going to get them the hell out of here, all of them. They're sending all of their criminals to us, all of these countries, all over the world. They're sending them to us. So you see numbers which are plunging all over the world because they don't have. Wait till you see, and don't forget, these people have just, you know, there's something about, you got to get used to it. They just got put here. They're getting used to our country. They're getting used to, we have the greatest law enforcement in the world, but we don't allow them to do their job. We're going to allow them to do their job. Otherwise, you're not going to have a country left. You're not going to teach a criminal not to be a criminal. Border czar Harris will let murderers, child predators, and bloodthirsty rapists and drug dealers charge across our borders by the tens of thousands a day. I will throw the killers, criminals, and illegal aliens and gang members the hell out of our country, or if they're really bad, we'll put them in our jails. With your vote, we will begin the largest deportation operation. We have no choice in American history. We have no choice. Starting on day one, we will end the Biden-Harris inflation nightmare and make America affordable again. So we've had the worst inflation, I think, in our country's history. They say, sir, it's only 58 years. I say, I believe it's the worst we've ever had. The numbers are much higher than they're showing. What they're showing is through the roof. But the numbers are even worse than that. To bring down the prices of all goods, we will stop their war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill, right? Drill, baby, drill. You'll be drilling right in front. You'll be a driller. I will terminate the Green New Scam, and I will end the Biden-Harris electric vehicle mandate. We want you to buy electric cars, Elon, but not everybody. We will pass massive tax cuts for workers, and that includes no tax on tips. Is that okay? Do we have any waitresses? Do we have any drivers, any caddies? Oh, there's one. Look at her. She's happy. No, it's something we can do. Let them keep their money. You came all the way from where? Las Vegas, right? No tax on tips. Remember, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. You know where I got this? Not from a big consultant that charges you $2 million to write up a report that doesn't mean anything. I got it from a waitress having dinner. I said, how are you at Trump in Las Vegas? Beautiful Trump Tower in Las Vegas. I said, hotel. I'm in the restaurant. I said, how's everything going? To a great waitress. She said, not good. They're just killing me on taxes. I said, taxes? What do you mean taxes? Don't they hand you cash? No, actually, most of it's done on the check. She said, they're after us all the time. And now they just passed regulations to Biden where they go after. They could go into your homes. They hired 88,000 new IRS people. You saw that? 88,000. By the way, they're allowed to carry guns. You know, nobody can have guns, but they're allowed to carry guns. Can you imagine this? But 88,000, and she was saying how unfair it is, how horrible it is, and it really, you know, it's like harassment. And I said, you know what? There shouldn't be tax on tips. There will be no tax on tips from now on, and we'll get that done very fast. I hope you remember that. You better get out and vote. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after we win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I will get it settled, and I will prevent World War III. Nobody else is going to say that. We are closer today to World War III than we've been since the Second World War. We will restore peace through strength. That's what we had. You know, remember when Hillary Clinton, crooked Hillary, remember Hillary? She used to say, look at him, he will get us into war. Look at his attitude. I said, no, my attitude is going to keep you out of war. That's what happened. We had no new wars. Other than I defeated ISIS, but that was a war that was already started. I defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate. In my next term, we will build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our country, a dome like has never been seen before, and it will be entirely made in the USA. A lot of it will be in Florida. A lot of it will be right here in Florida. Oh, you like that idea? Look at her. Yeah. Why shouldn't we? It's our technology. We know how to do it. You know, Israel, they had 300 rockets shot at it fairly recently. It knocked every rocket except one out of the sky. The other one was mortally hit and fell to the ground harmlessly. I say, why aren't we doing that? We're helping other people do it. Why aren't we building our own? And we're going to build it. And you know what the beauty is? We're going to make it here. It's going to be jobs and all that stuff. But somebody shoots a missile at us. We want to knock the hell out of the missile. We don't want to be landing in our cities. We're going to build it, and we're going to have it done, and it's going to be a lot of jobs, and it's going to be the most technologically advanced ever, even beyond what they have in Israel. We helped Israel with that. You know, Ronald Reagan wanted this many years ago, but then, in all fairness, then we didn't have the technology, not even close, but now we have an incredible technology. I will not cut one penny from Social Security or Medicare, and I didn't. Remember, I was the one that didn't. They are going to destroy it because they're signing up millions of people to go into Social Security and Medicare. They're going to destroy it. I will not cut one penny. I will not talk about 1 day or 1 year shorter. And I will not raise the retirement age of Social Security by 1 day, not by 1 year. We're not going to raise it at all. You can bank on it. You can bank on it. They're going to raise it. They're going to raise it way up. You'll say, you know, I'm getting ready to retire, but they just raised the Social Security age to 94. Kamala Harris will destroy Medicare and Social Security. She's destroying it. You watch. Flooding it with millions and millions of illegal aliens who she will turn into American citizens so that she can get the votes for the Democrat Party. What they don't understand is, with the Hispanic population, I think I'm doing better than they are right now. Won't that be a kick for them? We're doing great with Hispanics. We're doing incredibly with our black population. Is liking Trump much more than liking them. Wait till you see what those numbers are. Because they like security, they like jobs. You know, all these people that are coming in, they're affecting more than anybody else the black population. Second, they're affecting the Hispanic. They're taking their jobs. All of these millions of people that are flowing in are taking the jobs of black people, of Hispanic people, and of unions. The unions are not happy. They're taking union jobs. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. We'll work with Democrat governors and mayors. Every single city that's in turmoil and danger, you look at Chicago and you look at all of the different cities all over the country, they're all Democrat-run, every one of them, the top 25 for crime. What's going on with the crime. We will take over the horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., clean it up, renovate it, make it beautiful, rebuild our capital city so that it is no longer a nightmare of murder and crime, but rather it will become the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world. Right now, you go down, oh, let's go to Washington and look at the Jefferson Memorial. They want to change the name of that, as you know. Or the Washington Memorial, they want to change that name too. How do you figure we're going to change the name of George? I figured he was the one that was safe. I also figured Abraham Lincoln was safe. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. You know, we won 2 world wars out of certain forts, like Fort Bragg and other forts, Fort Lee, many forts. They changed the names of those forts. They changed their names. We left. They changed the names. No longer Fort Bragg. And the people in that area, they're not happy. But we won 2 world wars out of these forts. As an example, Fort Bragg, proud. We won 2 world wars. Let's change the name. On day 1, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the lives of our children. Thank you. It's true. Save our kids is right. Save our kids is right. And you're right. Thank you. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. Not a penny. And I will keep men out of women's sports, if that's okay. And as I did for 4 years, I will fully uphold our very important but under siege Second Amendment. It will be fully upheld. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech in our country, and I will secure our elections. Our goal will be, as I said, 1-day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and a thing called voter ID. You know, when you negotiate, and I do that with the Democrats, and I negotiate with them all the time on this, but I say, look, we've got to fix our laws on voting. We have to start with voter ID. Everybody has to have, no way! The discussion never even goes any further. I say, we have to have voter ID. It's called voter identification. Nope, we're not going to do it. Now, there's only one reason they do that, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason. Anything else, you know, in their national convention, when they had their convention, they have a voter tag on them bigger than their chest, depending on which chest we're talking about. Bigger than their, like this. Has their name, their serial number, it's got the whole deal. middle name, past addresses. It's got everything. Otherwise, you can't get into the Democrat National Convention. But with voting, one of your most important things you can do, maybe in many ways your most important, they don't want to approve voter ID. That's because they want to cheat. But until then, Republicans must win. We have to win this election, most important election ever. We want a landslide that's too big to rig. If you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. I don't care how, but you have to get out and vote. And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote. In conclusion, America has always been a nation won, built, and sustained by Americans of faith. It was faith that led the Pilgrims to cross an ocean and settle this majestic continent. It was belief in our Creator that led the patriots to defend their liberties in the war for independence. It was faith in America's God-given destiny that pushed the pioneers to journey west. And it was trust in God that led generations of American believers to end slavery, defeat fascism and communism, and make this into the greatest and most exceptional nation in the history of the world. But now, we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, its willpower, and its strength. We are a nation that has lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. With our leadership, every disaster Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have created can be fixed, and can be fixed quickly, and it will be fixed quickly. Every problem can be solved, and every wrong can be rectified. By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. Inflation will be in full retreat. We will have it in full retreat. It will happen quickly. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. The American dream will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be burning bright. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the worst administration in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past. And our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the one shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th President of the United States. Right? Because we are all Americans, and together we will show November 5th to be the most important day in the history of America. It will be the most important day in our history as a country. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America free again. And we will make America great again. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you.